Hey, what's up guys? Clint here, back with another video. And just a few days ago, I released a video of us doing a simple BMI calculator in just plain vanilla JavaScript. And obviously it was quite simple and rather quick. And this one is going to be a BMI calculator, but we built it in React.js. Now, it is quite overkill to build something like this in React. It is a very, very simple project. But the reason I built this in React is to really, I think it just really solidifies some of the React concepts that I'm learning right now, and hopefully that you can learn as well. So here we have our BMI calculator on a nice little card layout here. And it's going to take a couple inputs. I'm in America, so we are using the imperial system. Sorry for everybody watching if you're using the metric system. But here it takes in weight in pounds, then also height in inches. And down here it's going to display my BMI with a little message and also a little stick figure. So let's jump in here and see I'm 250 pounds, about 74 inches high, which is about 6'2". Let's submit this and boom, it says my BMI is 32.1 and that I'm overweight, unfortunately here. So it shows a little overweight guy there. Now, if we were to change this to say, we'll say 200 pounds, this changes our message to says I'm a healthy weight now and also displays a healthy weight individual. Now, if we were to change this to 150 pounds, which 150 pounds would be quite skinny at my height of 6'2", and that displays an underweight fellow there. And of course, we're going to have a reload button that refreshes the screen. Now, this is very simple code. Like I said, it is quite overkill in React, but it really helps learn some of the concepts, especially the useState hook and just managing state in React. So here we don't want to display any figures here unless we have a value. And then of course, if we hit the submit button without any values, we want to display a little alert to please enter a valid weight and height. So very, very simple. I know it's overkill, but if you want to learn how I did this in React, let's jump in and I'm going to start from the beginning. All right, here we are in VS Code, just a blank editor. I'm going to go ahead and press the Control backtick button to open up our terminal. And I'm going to change over to my desktop here and let's create our React app. npx create-react-app. And I'm going to call this BMI calculator-react. Go ahead and press enter. This will only take a moment. All right, it says happy hacking here. That means we're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and pull over the directory we just created. This is our React application. Now, what I'm going to do first is just clean up a few things that we're not going to be using, just to declutter. The app.css, this app.test, the logo.svg, the report web vitals, and the setup test. Let's just go ahead and remove those. There we go. A little less things to stare at. And the index.js, let's go in there. We're going to delete this. And also this report web vitals. There we go. We can close that. We're no longer going to be needing that. In our app.js, let's delete this code there. And then I'm just going to change that to a lowercase just so I don't confuse myself. And then at the top, we'll replace that with import React from React. Technically, I don't think we need to do this anymore, but just so I don't confuse myself, and I'm just used to doing it. Let's go ahead and start our server here. All right. And then what we're going to do first, I just really want to start with our JSX just to get it all out the way. And then we'll go ahead and style it. And then we'll add our logic at the end for our calculations. Just to make sure this is working. Hello. Let's see. Boom, there it is. Perfect. So let's go and get started. We have our outermost div. It's going to be this class that we named app. Next, we're going to do a container. So class name container. Then I want to add an H2 at the top, and I'm going to give this a class name of center, and we're just going to call it BMI calculator. Perfect. And then we're going to have a form. Inside this form, we're going to have a div with a label and an input. The label is going to be weight in pounds. Again, since I'm in America, we're going to be using the imperial system. Sorry for basically the rest of the world who's using a metric. And input, we'll say a value weight. Perfect. You know, I'm just going to delete that. We're just do a self-closing tab there. And let's copy this down. We're going to get some errors here. Don't worry. We'll go back and fix that. This next one is going to be height in inches. Perfect. And the value, of course, is going to be height. And then below this div, but also within the form, we do another div with a couple buttons. Let's give it a class name of btn submit. We want this type to be submit. Cool. And I'm going to copy this down, and I'm going to add a BTN outline to this second button here. Perfect. All right. And then below the form, right here, we're going to have a div, and inside this div, let's give it a class name while we're here as well, center. In here, we're going to have an H3, and we're going to say your BMI is, and then BMI, and this is our state. We're going to go back and add our state here in just a moment. And P tag, and this is going to say message. This is going to display our little message. And then just below this div, whoops, let's give this a class name, image container. And in here, we're going to have an image source. And I'm just going to call this image source. Give it an alt tag so React doesn't complain to us. And let's see, that should be it for now. So I realize we have all these errors. Let's go ahead and fix that so we can just not have to worry about anything else. Also, I'm going to import index.css before I forget to do that. So our state, we're going to put it just below this app right here and above the return. So this is going to be our state, and we're going to have 4 pieces of state here. Const going to have weight and set weight. So we're taking in 2 values for our state, equal to use state, and we're going to set this as 0. And also we need to import our state right here at the top. So we're going to comma and then curly brackets, use state. So here we are. We're going to copy this down a few times. This next one is going to be height. You can call it whatever you like. This just makes sense to me. Height. The next one is going to be BMI. We'll say set BMI. Now this one, instead of 0, I want to set this one as an empty string. And the same for this one as well. I also want to be an empty string. The last one is going to be message. And we'll say set message. So that's it for our state. Image source. Let's just define that down here. We'll put it as a string for now so we don't get any errors. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and do some styling on this thing so it's a little bit prettier to look at. So start here at the top. And again, I don't like using Bootstrap or anything like that. What was going to type Bootstrap? I don't like using Bootstrap or anything like that. Always a good idea, in my opinion, to sharpen your CSS skills, especially if your goal is to be a front-end web developer, like I said. So this here, the app class here is our outermost div here. I'm going to flex direction of column. I'm going to justify content to the center, align items to the center as well, with a width of 100%. And let's do a height of 100, viewport height. Perfect. Now the next one's going to be our container. And what we want to do is give it a box shadow. And I'm going to have 0 pixels all the way around, but we wanted to span about 12 pixels in width. Oh, we forgot our color. It's kind of a light gray. Perfect. There we go. Now let's do a border radius. We'll say 8 pixels. Padding 1 rem. Liking that there. Let's go ahead and do our input width of 100%. Font size 1.2 rem. Padding 8 pixels on the top and bottom. 4 pixels on the left and right. And margin 8 pixels. And let's do, 8 and 0 on the left and right. And let's do a border radius again of 8 so everything is consistent. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Starting to look a little bit better here. Let's style these buttons next. So BTN, let's do display, not inline, but block. And width 100%. And font size 1.2 rem. We want the buttons to display across the screen like so. Perfect. Margin 8 pixels and 0 on the left and right. Same for the padding. Let's do 10 pixels. Background color. Let's do black. Text is going to be white. Border 1 pixel solid, black there, border radius, 8 pixels, and cursor pointer. Whoops. Pointer. There we go. Okay, and of course our button outline. So BTN outline for our secondary button. We're just going to reverse the colors here. So background color is going to be white, and our color here is going to be our light black. See how that looks. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and do our center class. Whoops. Pixel line center. And I'm going to give this a little bit of margin here, just because we're in this. The only thing is I want margin on these top and bottom here, so I'll just keep it easy. Next, I want to have a couple more things. Some text here. So for our P tag, I'm going to give a margin of 10 pixels, top and bottom. And then our image container, which you can't really see here, is we don't have anything in there. Just an empty div right now. Text align, center, and then image container, image. And we want the height of our image to be 200 pixels. So let's see, I think that is it for our CSS. Everything is looking great, so we can go ahead and close our index.css. We're all done with that. Now what we want to do, let's go ahead and code our logic here. So we already have our state that we're going to be using to manage our weight, our height, our BMI, and then also the message we're going to be printing out. So the next thing to do is to do our calculations. So I'm going to say here, I'm going to call it calc BMI. It's going to be an arrow function. And this is going to take in an event. And what we want to do, we don't want the actual form to submit to the server. So the way we do that, we can say prevent submitting. What we want to do is type event.prevent default, just a JavaScript function here. And that will actually prevent our form from submitting to the server. Now, if no values are entered, we want to display an alert. Otherwise, we want to proceed with our calculations. So to do that, we're going to use the if statement and say if weight is equal to 0 and height is equal to 0. We want to say alert, please enter a valid weight and height. Otherwise, if we do have some values entered, otherwise we'll say else. We're going to proceed with our calculation. So for our BMI, it's our BMI that we're going to be managing here, right here. So let BMI equal, and the way we calculate our BMI in the imperial system is going to be weight divided by height squared. So we can just say height times 703. And then after that calculation, we want to set it to set BMI. This is updating our state. And I'm going to say toFix. Again, just a JavaScript function here. We'll set it to 1. So without this toFixed function here, we'd get a long, basically probably like a 10-digit number. And we don't want that. We just want it to say, 32.1. We don't want it to say 32.15678. That would just be too confusing. So we're just going to keep that like so. But now nothing's going to work here because we need to grab our inputs here. So let's scroll down to our inputs. And what we want to do is we want to add, so we already have the value here, but what we want to do is add an onChange event here. So onChange, and we're going to take in the event here, and it's just going to be an arrow function like so, and it's going to set weight to event.target.value. Perfect. Just like so. And then what we also want to do, make sure that's correct there. Oh, sorry, we don't need this here. Perfect. Now we want to do the same thing for height. onChange, like so, perfect. Event set height to event.target.value. Now you may see in some tutorials just set E there, and that's fine as well. We can abbreviate it like so if we wanted to do that. Whoops, I hate those pop-ups. So, and that'll work all the same, just like that. So if you ever see the E there or event, it's the same thing. So I'll go ahead and leave them like so just to show that they will both work. Now, again, let's see if this will work. We already have our BMI down here that it should be outputting. And so when we type in our weight, it's going to get the value that we type in, and it's going to calculate it here, and it's going to output with our BMI. Oh, wait, before we enter anything, that's not going to work. We forgot to add something to our form. So we want to add an on submit. It's going to run our function here. It's like the main thing. So calc BMI, which if we scroll up, it's our function. So let's have a look. Everything should work now. 250, 74 inches, boom. So there has it, our displays our BMI. So technically our application is working properly, but we're not getting any message yet, nor are we getting our little person here. So, and also, whoop, this one says submit, it should say clear. And of course our reload, and our reload button's not working. So let's go and change that. And for our reload, all we're gonna do is just add a little function here. We can do it right here. And we'll just say let reload, whoops, window.location .reload. Boom, there we go. And then down here, I'm going to say on click, run the reload function that we just created. Let's have a look. Boom, clears out our application there. So perfect. Now we got that. Let's go on and let's display, we want to display our message. So, and then we'll do our picture. So for our message, we'll go right here into our function. So we have this, our calc BMI function, and the event.prevent default will prevent it from being submitted to the server. And then we have our little if statement here to only run our calculation if we enter some values. Then here it is running our calculation. So right underneath this set BMI is where we're going to add logic for message. And we're going to do another if statement. And this is going to be within this statement. So if there's no values entered, then the BMI won't be calculated, and this message logic will not even be executed. So that's why we're printing it inside this, all inside of this function here, inside of this if statement. So what we're going to say is if BMI is, we'll say less than 25, we're going to say set message, you are underweight. Else, if a BMI, we'll say, is greater than or equal to 25, and BMI is, we'll say, less than 30, what we want to say, whoops, we're going to say set message to you are a healthy weight. Else, we'll just set the message to you are overweight. So what we have, if our BMI is calculated, it's going to store our number in this BMI here, and then we're going to take our number. If it's less than 25, it's going to tell us we're underweight. It's going to store it in this message here. If it's between 25 or 30, it's going to store that we are a healthy weight. And if it's over 30 or anything else, which would inevitably be over 30, it's going to say we are overweight. So, and then why we have this stored as an empty string, if this was if we had it as a 0, same with a set BMI, it would be listed as 0, and we don't want that. So that's why I have this one stored as an empty string, and this one as well. And we could even, if you say there is no message, then this would be displayed there as well. So you can get creative with it, but I'm just going to leave it blank as an empty string. And let's go ahead, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and test this out. So 250 pounds, 6'2", which is 74 inches, says I am 32.1, and it says I am overweight. So what if I was to be 200 pounds? I should be a normal. So yeah, it says I'm a healthy weight. Then if I was 140 pounds at 6'2", that's severely underweight for that height. So perfect. So now all we have left to do is our image. So there's many ways to do this. I'm not going to import any images for this. And you could do it in CSS and to just show certain classes and basically put, just contingent upon the classes we're going to use. But I'm going to do this with just a file path in the image source. So what we're going to do, where's our image source that there we have it right there. I'm actually going to move this down. You don't have to, you can kind of put it wherever you want, but I'm just going to put it right here. Doesn't really matter as long as it's above this return and kind of in here somewhere. So we have it here, image source. We actually don't even need that. We can just leave it blank like so. We did that earlier so we would stop seeing that error. So what we want to do here is show image based on BMI calculation. Perfect. So what we want to do, we'll just say if, just some more logic here. If BMI, we'll just say less than 1, almost 0, basically is 0. Image source, we want to be null, so no value. Whoops, okay. Else, I hate all those pop-ups, drives me crazy. Else, if BMI is less than 25, what we want to do is set the image source to our path here. Now, and this is our path, let's see, source, and then we're going outside the directory, assets, and then we want to display underweight.png. There we go. So this is not going to work though, because we're not importing the image at the top. And when you're not going to import the image, you have to do something a little bit different. Just add a little bit of code here. So what we're going to do is just going to highlight that, put it in parentheses there, and then we just say require. And that's all we need to do. Can't resolve. Let's see. Why can't, oh, I never imported my images. So that's one thing we need to do, you guys. Sorry about that. We do need to create an assets folder. I thought I'd already imported or put my images in here. Apparently I did not. So what I'm going to do is type in assets here. It's going to be our folder. And I already have my images picked out. I'm just going to pull them over. And basically here are our images. We had a healthy guy, an overweight dude, and then also an underweight dude as well. So that's what we're going to be using. I pulled it over from a vector website. I'm not sure which one. I'll have to look it up and I'll put it in the description below. So here we have an underweight guy. We haven't done any other logic, so nothing else should be displayed. So 250, boom, nothing shows. So what we want to do next is kind of the same thing we're doing up here. Else if, we'll say BMI is greater than or equal to 25, and BMI is less than 30. What we want to do is image source set, and again, we're going to do the require, and this is going to be source /assets /healthy weight, I think is the name. Just want to confirm. Healthy, just healthy. PNG. Else, and again, let's see, image source equal to require. So basically we're saying if their BMI is less than 25, we're going to show the underweight. If it's between 25 and 30, we're going to show the healthy guy. And then anything else, which would be over 30, but if it's not less than 25 or 25 to 30, it has to be over 30. Then we're going to display the overweight guy. So our source assets overweight.png. Let's have a look, and we can reload our guy there. So if we're 120 pounds at 6'2", that's quite skinny. You are underweight. Now, if I was a 200-pound dude, which is an average size guy for 6'2", it's I'm a healthy weight. And of course, if I were to be 250, which is what I am, go and submit, and we're going to be an overweight guy. So, and we can clear it. So that's what we built today. That concludes this tutorial on how to create a BMI calculator in React. It was quite overkill to create a whole React application just for a very simple BMI calculator, which we very easily created basically the same thing in just pure JavaScript in a lot less time. So it is quite overkill, but I really enjoy using all the state. I think it really helps solidify some of the concepts and learning some concepts in React, which is never a bad idea to brush up on. So, and that's why I'm here, to help learn for myself and also to teach you guys a thing or two as well. So thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like the video and consider subscribing to my channel. I'm going to be putting out some more React content just like this, and potentially some other technologies as well. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. I'll see you on the next one.